A moment of silence followed by the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a roll call of members.
Dr. Malloy,
Here.
Mr. Mignon, Mr. Haw, Mr. Greenwood, Mrs. Irwin Adams, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Francis, Mrs. McGinnis, Mr. Cook.
Okay, I'd like to announce that we had an executive session prior to this meeting to discuss personnel items. This time, I'd like to read this statement. It is with deep sadness that we acknowledge the recent deaths of a student and two former members of the Altoona Area School District team. Jackson James Burns passed away at Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh on June 25th at the age of 15. Although a high school student, Jackson never forgot his friends or experiences at Ebner Elementary School and cherished his Ebner Elementary yearbook. Jackson is survived by his parents, Joshua Burns and Katie Beam, along with his grandmother, Susan Porter Burns. Second individual is Linda McGinnis, who passed away unexpectedly on July 16th, just shortly after retiring from her position in the Altoona Area School District's guidance office. She was a secretary there. She was a 1975 graduate of the Altoona Area High School. And the third individual is the Reverend John Klingeman, who passed away on July 24th after an extended illness. Reverend Klingeman served on the Altoona Area School District Board of Directors from 2013 to 2017. He also worked for the district's Elect Fatherhood Initiative as a counselor supporting teen fathers for many years. And each of these people had a profound impact on the district and those who knew them. And we extend our sincere condolences to their families and loved ones. If we could have a moment of silence for them, please. Amen. Okay, we'll now hear from citizens. Citizen addressing the board, please state your name, your address, and the board will limit your comments to 5 minutes. So anybody wish to address the board?
Hello. My name is Erin Musatelli. I'm here today because I wrote an email to all the board members and administrators on May 31st concerning our lack of school safety protection measures within the district and especially at the elementary levels. I'd like to thank the 3 people who kindly responded to my email. Again, I'm here to follow up on what is being done to create a safe school environment for our students and staff. I understand there was an active shooter rescue task force training held, which is definitely a step in the right direction. In the event that an active shooter does harm to individuals, this training is certainly a valuable reactive response. But what are you doing proactively to prevent it from happening in the first place? Until you can get security in every building, small steps should be taken so that there is a form of defense other than hiding under desks. Have all teachers and staff been through active shooter training? Have doors been looked at by a fire inspector to see if additional locks can be added? Are teachers and staff certified in CPR or certified in CPR and first aid, not only for active shooter situations, but for everyday safety? Are teachers able to add blinds or curtains that can be closed to block the view of an active shooter? Have rope ladders been purchased for classrooms on second levels? Again, not only for an active shooter situation, but for general fire safety. And my last question, and the one I also asked in the email, was, if safety features cannot be added due to funds, can schools run fundraisers or use PTO or PTA money to assist with costs? I know the majority of parents would be happy to fundraise, knowing it would be going towards keeping our schools safe and our children protected. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Okay. If not, we'll move to our business meeting. The first item would be the approval of the June 20th, 22 regular school board meeting minutes. Is there a motion for approval? Is there a second? Any questions? Those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye. Okay, 4 under finance, we have A, the list of payments, B, the financial reports. Those 2 items. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Discussion. Okay, those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Under policy, we have final reading of 2 policies, policy 204 on attendance and 206 on assignment within the district. Do we have a motion? Is there a second? Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Education. A is the 2022-23 GED schedule. B is volunteer approval. C, new teacher induction program completion for 2021. D, ESL consortium agreement. E, ATSI intervention support position. F, the Ignite Learning Lamp Education Solutions. Do we have a motion on those items? Is there a second? Is there a discussion? Those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? 7, personnel items. A, we have personnel items. B, the superintendent evaluation and raise. Those 2 items. Do we have a motion? Is there a second? On seconds. Discussion. Hearing none, those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? 8, business operations. A is the St. Mary's parking lease. B, the AASD Life Solutions EAP. C, the Amtran driver list approval. D, repository bids. E, also repository bids. F, the STA bus drivers. G, the capital projects list of payments to AAHS. H, the capital reserve list of payments for Mansion Park and Ebner. Do we have a motion on those items? Ron, is there a second? Eric seconds. Discussion?
Yeah, the market value was prior to the demolition of the improvement that was on the property. So it just hasn't been updated yet. Can I ask for a clarification to the repository bid, letter E? Please just make a note that the city of Altoona has rejected those, which is why I separated the 2 repository bids. So the board needs to please take note of that.
The city is attempting to take the ones they rejected and create a block so that they can create a within the paper. We saw that. that's, again, that's the decision. I believe, my director has been saying this, they would, once the city rejected, they would appreciate us supporting them. Rejecting also.
So I would suggest we vote on E separate.
Yes.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, so we're voting on all of these items except E. Those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? E. Okay. We already had a motion and a second. I guess we can just go to the vote. So all those, let's do a roll call. That'd make it easier.
Motion to reject the to reject, right? Motion to reject.
Yes.
Okay, we didn't do a second on that. I guess we'd have to do a motion. Okay, so let's do a motion and a second, and then we can vote on that separate. So do we have a motion on E? Is there a second? Okay, so a vote of approval would be approving it. A vote of no would be rejecting it. Everybody got that straight? Okay, those in favor respond by saying aye. Those opposed? Same sign, aye. Okay, so that one was rejected. Number 9, student services. A is Student Assistance Program, the SAP agreement. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Discussion. Those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Old business. I see none. Does anybody have any old business to bring forward? Not new business.
Just real quick, could we respond to Mr. Mustelli, just what we have planned? I think that would be
Thank you. I appreciate that.
there are two things. I too read your letter. There are certain pieces in there where we have worked with the fire department. How fire department has toured our buildings, as has the Pennsylvania State Police, and they have given us full write-ups as to what would be our next steps. We do have secure vestibules in all our buildings. We do have school gate guardian checks and those kinds of things in all of our buildings. When you talk about doors and doing different kinds of things to the doors, there are those that will say, yes, do that, and there are those that say, no, don't do that. So there's kind of a mixed response. But we are looking at all those things, all the other things you brought up. We are looking at those, but understand we're going to follow the recommendations as they come from the state police and or the fire marshal as to what they feel is appropriate. That said, we are planning to do active shooter drills with teachers. I don't have the exact date in front of me, but that is in the works, and some other pieces we are planning on doing. Like tomorrow, we're going to be meeting with the safety and security committee for the school district to talk about different aspects of what we need to look at, and also we are dealing with the state grant funds to handle SING. So we are actively looking at this. I give you no answers because we're working on it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Under new business, we have A, Rescue Task Force Training, B, Alert to Boundary Extension. Okay, do we have a motion on those items? Is there a second? Discussion?
May I?
Yes.
Just real quick. The rescue training happened last Saturday. We normally cooperate with Logan Township and Altoona Police when they need to use facilities. It was an active shooter / EMS training. It was very comprehensive. Is Bill here? He might not be. Okay. On the 15th, he can give a bigger report, but it was very beneficial to all involved, and it also got us, all of our officers, current officers, participated in that training. So it was a benefit not only to the community, it also was a benefit to our specific police officers to receive that training. The LERTA boundary extension. There's a couple of things floating around out there, and this is just a small parcel that they want to include in the LERTA to make it all part of that. There will be discussions at the city level, and it's a different topic, but I'm going to bring it up here because we're talking about LERTAs. There is discussion about making the entire city a LERTA zone to promote more improvement. It wouldn't hurt the existing tax value, but it would help us in revitalizing certain areas in the city, and in turn, in the long run, improving our tax revenues across the board. But that's just in the discussion phase. At this point, though, this is a request to include basically, I want to say, a half-acre parcel in the LERTA that was not boundaried in to begin with. And I would recommend that the board approve it.
Any other discussion? Okay, those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved. Committee reports. Any committee chair have a report? Board president's report?
Hang on one second. Just so everyone's aware, Ron, I believe, what is the date for it was moved to August 18th, correct, for facilities? It was moved from early September to August 18th in order to facilitate preparation of that for the board meeting in September. And we have out to bid, is it Juniata Gap? Is that the building that's out to bid currently, Susan? Okay. Ron, do you want to talk about any of the things going on down at the stadium? Would you like me to talk about those?
Yes, the light poles came down. When the light poles come down, closed, all the light poles would come down. And what they did up there was they had a guy in a bucket truck. The LG went up, was wrapped around the top, grabbed a hold of it, put the slack out, and the guy burnt the four big nuts off. And they did not come out easy after 75 years. So 20-pound sledgehammer with an 8-foot crowbar, they flat stuff that was 16 inches. And, jerk. So it's a good thing not to have anybody out there at the time, because anything could have happened, like shatter. Witnessed the light poles going in, that was interesting. They had a nice also on there, putting that on. It was time. The poles were 75 years old, the lights were 35 years old. They were rusted out, they were worn out, going football games, soccer. It was time for that. The bleachers are putting handrails on, it's time for that. We're going 2 on one side, 2 on the other.
Two on the visitors and 4 on the home side.
On the home side, which over the years, every time I go to a football game, when you never put handrails up, I want to go to the top, I want to watch the game. So the handrails are going to be in. And
Yeah, one additional thing to that, they would be installing the handrails right now, but the handrails, they had to go back and be galvanized according to spec. And there was a delay at the galvanizer. It's like an electroplating galvanization that they do on the handrails, and they're in the process of getting that completed. As soon as that's completed, they'll start putting the handrails up. So it's moving along quite well.
also the bleachers, we had discussed this at the facility meetings over the last few years. Cross beams, rivets on cross beams were rusted. They're like 7 years old. There's bolts on high beams that are 3/4 of the way rusted out, and the guys are putting the lights up. They're in there putting the cement pylons in, and they said, your bleachers are bad shape. They're going to be done. So they're going to be getting done. And the last thing, folks, I want to see is a football game for graduation, and something happens in the league. So it's preventive maintenance. It's time, it has to be done. But if we wait another year, maybe one. I'm not one to take any chances. It's never done. It's all been done right, and we're going to be good for another 40, 50 years. I don't cost money, but changing part of the door.
Thank you, Ron. Any other committee reports? Superintendent's report.
I covered it. The biggest thing I wanted to cover was alerta. Thank you. Brittany, the Assistant Secretary to the School Board. She is here today. She is subbing in for Camilla, who is down in Texas visiting her parents.
Okay, welcome, Brittany. Thank you. Okay. We have employee unions response, middle management, solicitor.
Just a quick plug for the Penn State School Studies Council School Law Day. It's going to be devoted exclusively to special ed, and that's for supervisors, principals, and anybody else in administration that wants to expand and get a better working knowledge of that topic. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
What's the day on the card?
It will be at IU 10, just like it was a year ago.
Okay, that's all the items we have on the agenda. Do we have a motion for adjournment? Second? Anybody-